Yo, what's good, guys? Welcome back to another Black Clover chapter review, spoiler review. And the long-awaited chapter has finally came. The chapter that we've all been waiting for after last week's cliffhanger. With Lucifero versus Yuno, where Yuno was given those two choices between Yami or Nacht or Asta. Well, really three choices. But now look, guys, check this out. Our boy Asta, he's finally getting his backstory. All right, he's finally getting his backstory, and that's something we've been waiting for so long. Like, literally, I can't even express how I'm feeling right now because for finally Asta to know about somewhat of his origins, and even still at the end of this chapter, I'm not really going to spoil it just yet, but it's still kind of like Asta still doesn't fully get it yet. But here, you know, he's in that kind of like that mental space that only him and Libe share. You guys know, it's kind of where you see it like in different animes, whether it be with Naruto and Kurama, where like they had like their own little space where only they could talk. You see that even when Bleach, we have Hollow, Ichigo, and Ichigo talking. So we kind of have this between Asta and Libe, where Asta really understands how Libe feels and the hardships that he really went through, and like they're pretty much getting all of the info, like they're sharing so much between one another, and it's so deep. And with Libe, he finally acknowledges that like he's not alone. And I think for Libe, if you think about how old he might be, who knows how old Libe is? Like, he might be thousands of years old. He might be hundreds of years old. We can only assume, of course, that he's not necessarily the same age as Asta. He's obviously older, but can you imagine for like so many years, like in the underworld, he was just by himself, and then he finally meets Lucida, and for all of that to just be taken away within like literally a few years is so heart-wrenching just to see. And to finally have Asta and Libe really be united together. Because that's the one thing. Like, yeah, they are on good terms, or were on good terms before. But now, like, they finally understand each other. It's kind of like when you first get into a relationship where you guys don't really know each other, but you still, like, not necessarily love each other, but you guys like each other. But once you really get to know one another, like, once you really know about each other's hardships, the past and everything, like, it's just so wonderful. It makes it everything more, you know, synchronized. And so even in this panel, I gotta talk about this, right? So this is actually where we left off last week. I know the previous panel showed you guys like the flashbacks and everything concerning Asta and Libe, but right here is a very important panel because that's the one thing I want to say about our boy Lucifero. Lucifero is not playing with these people. Like, Lucifero, when he means like legitly, it doesn't matter which choice is going to be, they're all going to die. He like legitly means it. He KOs Yuno. Yuno's out for the fight. I don't want to see Yuno coming back again. Like, I really don't want to see Yuno coming back. And it's not because I hate Yuno. It's not that, you know, Yuno's a bad character. It's just I really want this fight to be between Asta and Lucifero because it's a very like personal fight. We've had so far the main three Light Triad members have their two separate fights. We had Xenon and Yuno, and we also had Noelle and Magicula. That was like that personal fight and how it connected to like either their mothers or their family. But now we finally have that with Asta. I feel like Asta never really got that moment, but I believe that's coming upon us next week in the next chapter. Right here in this panel, if you guys see it up, it's definitely like we see our boy Nacht, and also we see our boy Yami. And, you know, originally when I saw this, like when I first saw the spoilers when it dropped, I was like, all right, they finally got Lucifero. And I'm not even sure, by the way, if these type of strikes would even kill Lucifero, because we don't have really any idea about Lucifero's like legit durability. They're making it seem like these strikes will just end him indefinitely, and I'm not one to believe that. It may seriously damage him. I think that that's really what's going to be the conclusion of this fight. I don't believe that Lucifero is going to die at all. I believe he's going to be either seriously injured and forced to retreat, which is still a victory for the humans. Don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think they're going to kill off Lucifero. I don't think that Yukitsubata is going to kill Lucifero just yet, because I think that's just too soon. He is the main villain of this series so far. So just to kind of see him going down like that so easy would kind of just be a huge letdown. But Lucifero, look, he's pulling out the 4 hands. You know, like he's pulling out all the hands because he stabs Nacht and Yami like right through the chest. Now, which one of them is really going to die here? I don't really know. They say that Yami's story is almost fully completed, but we kind of don't know about Yami's homeland, so I don't really think that he's going to die. Nacht, I believe, has more to offer to the story. Now, between the two of them, who has the most likely chance of dying? I would say none of them, just because like it's very hard for Yuki Tabata to kill all these characters, especially well-beloved characters. Other people have said they have death flags, but I don't really see it. I know Yami did say if we do not make it back, or I can't necessarily remember exactly what he said in the past chapters ago, but I just can't really see it. Also, guys, right here in this panel, we're actually seeing Asta being shown the different memories of Lucita, which is pretty amazing. That's the reason why Asta feels so, that's why he feels so much emotion for our boy Libe, because he's able to see these emotions and just really to connect with it, and they finally recognize that they're brothers. Right here in this panel, I mean, this may be controversial. I know this is a translation, but I'm just going to come out and say it. I understand sometimes main characters can be stupid, and I'm really going to put this nicely about Asta. How does he not recognize that this is his mother? And then it kind of does make sense though, because Libe doesn't necessarily have the full-on knowledge that Asta is Lucita's son, because the only memory that we do see of Lucita dropping off Asta, that's her memory, and Libe wasn't there. Like, no one was really there except for Lucita and Asta doesn't remember because, of course, he was a baby. And so I guess it does make sense. And Libe does have an idea, but I'm not exactly too sure if he 100% knows this is Lucita's son. And I know he mentioned it in earlier chapters, but I'm not exactly sure even if he's 100% on that. So I guess we can see how Asta is very, like, not too sure about it, but I don't know. It's like they look very similar to one another, but Asta is he's kind of stupid. Not stupid as in overall, but just in some instances, he's kind of dumb. With all due respect to Asta, he's like my favorite new shonen character, but yeah, it was just very weird. I don't know, guys. But anyway, and if you did notice that I paused a lot throughout this video and took a deep breath, I currently do have a cold, or rather an upper respiratory infection, so it was kind of hard for me to breathe and talk at the same time. So I do apologize for that, guys. Yeah, I understand it might have been distracting a little bit, but I definitely wanted to make sure to get this video out to you guys, because that's how dedicated I am now, getting these new spoilers out, especially since these chapters just been so fire. But anyway, guys, make sure you guys have a wonderful night. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, and comment down below and tell me what you guys loved about the video. And as always, peace.